How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 43 Chapter 1. This is Episode 1 of Season 43 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues. In this episode, we will be describing the manner by which the social economy integrates into the consensual non-consensual framework. To start off, in the beginning of the complete series, we talked about how every person generates an expectation field which populates our surroundings with expectations, both passively and actively along with our conscious attention. Now that expectation field was described fundamentally as a consensual field, in that it represents the experiences we consent to. When people meet those expectations, those are consensual experiences, which establish reinforcement and contingently rationalization of the underlying behaviors. Now, non-consensual fields correspond to behaviors which we do not expect, events we do not expect, which include as a subsidiary the agency of our shadow self, being the unconscious and conscious impulses that we negate or repress. Now, the social economy was described as a form of expectation matching, in that when people's expectations are met, they accrue confidence in the underlying behaviors. This confidence can be converted to free confidence. Free confidence is merely another way of describing confidence wages, being wagers about something in the environment occurring as we expect, but most commonly referred to occasions where we are engaged in some zero-sum contest with some other. That is, the wager means that we wager some confidence that our expectations will be met by the other and vice versa. In other words, confidence wagers are competitive tools. In this episode, I would like to integrate those two sets of concepts into a single idea. Namely, confidence is associated with the dispersion of one's expectation field, one's consensual expectations. This means that when it is dispersed spatially, it interacts with and penetrates the consensual fields of others. This means that it produces as part of that penetration reactive emotionality which is accretive to the underlying objectives and behavior of the originating consensual field. In other words, as an example, let's say you go into a bar one day. You are feeling better than normal, having completed some work-related task, and you are feeling pretty confident. You encounter a waitress, your consensual field is dispersed, it penetrates the consensual field of the waitress, generating reactive emotionality which is accretive to your expectations being met. This forms a tonic-dominant bond, albeit temporarily. She unconsciously rationalizes your actions in a way which meets or exceeds your expectations. Thus, confidence represents the capacity of an expectation field to penetrate the consensual field of another, generating unconscious verbalization of qualities which accrue to your objectives. Now, the process doesn't end there. For as your consensual field penetrates the field of the waitress, and generates reactive emotionality in the waitress which accrues further confidence to your action through the rationalization of behavior, it creates an unconscious dialogue between yourself and the waitress. This unconscious dialogue represents one of the 9 dialogues of the 9 plates. And corresponding to this dialogue is a two-way expression of one's thoughts which may or may not be consistent with the rationalization of given behaviors. Let us further say in this example that suppose you just had a death in the family and the direction which the unconscious dialogue is going, towards a flirtatious one, is inconsistent with your unconscious mood. Your behavior changes and your body language shifts, altering the dialogue on one of the 9 plates, which results in a muted non-committal reaction. This represents the diminution of one's consensual field, the inversion, the retraction, of that field, which eliminates the unconscious pathway for verbalization and the tonic-dominant bond. Thus, confidence is accretive to the activity of a given consensual field. By activity I mean it becomes totipotent, active, engaged. The other point which must be made is that a consensual expectation field does not express thought, it merely expresses engagement. Once the engagement is secured, unconscious verbalization generates dialogue, which may or may not be conducive to the behaviors underlying the reinforcement. Thus, dialogue trumps confidence, which merely establishes engagement. The tonic-dominant bond is fundamentally the mechanism of dialogue, while the consensual field refers itself to the engagement. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, Please like, comment and subscribe.